And yet, they still haven't quite figured it out. They still haven't quite figured out who Jesus is. And in Luke chapter 9, Jesus takes them way up to the northern part of the kingdom, actually outside of the kingdom, the Caesarea Philippi. And he, in a sense, confronts them. He says, "Who am I?" And so, I'll read the first part for you. Now it happened that as he was praying alone, the disciples were with him, and he asked them, "Who do the crowd say that I am?" And they answered him, "John the Baptist, but others say Elijah, and others that one of the prophets of old has risen." Then he said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" And Peter answered, "The Christ of God." Being a Christian means Jesus is your King. Does anyone here know what the word Christ means? Is it Jesus' last name? No. Christ and
The anointed one.
anointed one. Yes, very good. So I'm giving you guys a very high credibility on Bible knowledge here. But so the New Testament is written in Greek. You guys understand that? Old Testament is written in Hebrew. So Christ means anointed one, which is the Greek word for the Old Testament word Messiah, which means anointed one. So when you're saying Jesus Christ, you're saying Jesus the Messiah, which means anointed one. Who did they anoint in the Old Testament? The king. Right? So 1 Samuel 7, I think it is, the prophet Samuel comes and he anoints David, announcing that he is going to be the future king. So after Peter has been following around Jesus for 2.5 years, he's seen all these incredible things. Finally, he gets it and he says, "You're the king. You're the king our people have been longing for and waiting for hundreds of years." To be a Christian means Jesus is my king, the one I bend my heart to, the one I serve and obey and live for. Who's the king of Canada?
Charles.
Justin Trudeau? Maybe, kind of.
It's Charles, bro.
But actually,
Charles.
that's not true.
Yeah.
We live in a democracy.
King
all right?
Charles.
So monarchy means there's one king. A theocracy means that there's God.
Oh.
But a democracy, and I think I understand this correctly, means many kings. So you know who's king in Canada?
Charles.
We're all kings. We rule our own
Kings
lives,
and
we do
queen,
what we
actually.
want, and then we elect leaders
And the
to
queen.
lead us. So just by living in a democracy, which is a wonderful thing, it's slowly ingrained in us that I'm in charge of my life. No one can tell me what to do. I live how I want to live. And if I don't like my leader, we get rid of him and get someone else because I live how I want. Who here likes Disney movies? Well, what's your favorite Disney movie? Somebody should know some of your favorite Disney movies.
Sit down, sit down.
Princess and the Frog.
What? Yes.
Pinocchio.
Encanto, please. It was so loud, eh?
Probably my modern Disney movie, probably my favorite one is Tangled.
Yeah, thank good. Come.
I am the dad of young
Thank
girls.
good God. Thank good God.
No,
At
attached.
the end,
Attached
when
is
the uncle is drowned, and the king finds his daughter again and just gets to be kind. That's a dad and daughter. So probably my all-time favorite Disney movie is Robin Hood. Who here likes old
Eh?
What? What did he say?
Robin Hood.
What is
What is
that?
that?
I'm going to quote to you guys, not from Robin Hood, but an all-time classic. I'm sure you guys have all seen this a gazillion times. Mulan 2.
No.
You never. You God, Jesus, no.
So, Mulan 2, I don't think I can really, I've seen it briefly once with my kids. I don't think I can tell you what it's about. But Mulan 1, I imagine you guys know, is about this girl that's in China, ancient China, and she goes to battle in place of her dad, and of course she ends up saving China. Saving the day, becomes this great hero. So in Mulan 2, she's kind of famous and a hero of the nation. And there's this scene where she's talking with some princesses of China, who are struggling with the fact that their father is arranging marriages for them. This is their conversation, how it goes. She says, the princesses say to Mulan, "You are so brave to take your father's place in the army. Your duty was to stay home, but your heart told you to break the rules.
Yeah.
How did you decide between duty and heart?" Mulan answers, "Well, it wasn't easy, but by following my feelings, I wound up doing the right thing. I guess I learned that my duty is to my heart." In many senses, that statement, "I learned my duty is to my heart, to follow my feelings. I wound up doing the right thing," perfectly summarizes the message of almost every Disney movie, and what I would say is the gospel of our culture. This is ingrained in us, whether it's in Disney movies or wherever you go. If you just follow your heart, pursue your dreams, be yourself, it'll lead to your greatest happiness. But if you hear me say one thing tonight, you take one thing home from what I'm saying now, it's this. That's a lie. Don't follow your heart. Don't trust your heart. Your heart is fickle and foolish, and it will lead you astray. And what I think our text teaches us tonight is actually the exact opposite. In Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 9, it tells us our hearts are deceitful and wicked and warped by sin. How many of you ever wanted something so badly, and you just thought, if I just get this, it'll make me so happy, and then you get it, and then you realize, oh, that's not that good. And then you have to find something else because it didn't satisfy you. Or you really want something, but then, halfway through the day, you decide you don't want that, and you want something else, and you change your mind. Our hearts are constantly changing. They're fickle. They're foolish. When I was in high school, when I was your guys' age, there were 3 things that I wanted. And I thought, man, if I just get these 3 things, I'll have everything. My life will be perfect. The first one was I was a hockey player. I played a lot of hockey, and I thought, if I just make this team, that's going to be everything for me. And I begged God, I prayed, Lord, I'll do anything. Let me make this hockey team. Second, I wanted a girlfriend. And third, I wanted to be cool. I was a dorky Christian kid, but
Then what they get?
but I was good at sports, so that kind of made me cool. And basically, by the time I was in grade 12, I accomplished all 3 of these things.
Who's your girlfriend?
Team that I thought was the greatest thing in the world. I had a girlfriend. I was cool. And I remember at the same time, so halfway through grade 12, I looked around and was like, "Is this it? I'm not that happy. I'm actually kind of miserable. This isn't what I thought it was going to be." That was when God started doing incredible work in my heart and teach me what it really means to be a Christian. To be a Christian is not to follow your heart, but to bow your heart to Jesus. To make Jesus your king. Or, to put it as our passage puts it, being a Christian means dying to yourself and living for Jesus. So let me keep reading here. Verse 21, it goes on. "And Jesus strictly charged and commanded them to tell this to no one, saying, 'The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and on the 3rd day be raised.' And he said to all, 'If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it.'" Our culture ingrains in us every day, teaches us to Be yourself. Express yourself. Jesus says, deny yourself. Denying yourself means dying to self. It's kind of interesting to think about what Peter's thinking in this story. He's just found the king. What did they expect the king to do? They were in terrible oppression under the Romans. And he's thinking, Jesus is the king.